This is a video that's going to give an introduction to Module 2, the evaluation essay. This particular type of essay is one that is going to give basically your thoughts and criteria for judging the effectiveness of a commercial. Evaluations and reviews are so much part of our life that sometimes we don't even notice that we are seeing them or hearing them until they are, specifically assigned. We see billboard signs, we see commercial ads all the time that influence us to buy a product, try a service, and so forth. So for this particular essay, you're basically kind of giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down and explaining why you feel the way you do. The evaluation PowerPoint, if you click on this PowerPoint, it will go through and just discuss an overall general definition of what an evaluation is. It's short. This is one that you definitely need to click on, this link. It's called the persuasive appeals. And what an appeal is, or persuasive appeal, is a way or a strategy that a person or company uses to persuade someone of something. There are 3 different kinds of appeals. So if you click on that, you've got ethos, pathos, and logos. And many of you have probably heard of these before. But these are created or were created by Aristotle, and they're called modes of persuasion. They're ways to convince audiences. So you'll have to look at the commercial that you choose, because you get to choose whatever commercial you want. So you can kind of surf around on Facebook, the internet, YouTube, anywhere that you can look for commercials. Some of the most popular commercials to use would be Super Bowl commercials, because they're usually pretty interesting, or one that jumps out at you that catches your attention. And you'll be thinking, okay, I need to determine what strategies are used by this company to sell this product or service, or to bring about awareness. It could be a commercial that brings about awareness. So you've got ethos. Ethos is an ethical appeal. It means it's trying to convince the audience of the author's credibility or character. So you have to think about the source, the company. Has the company been around for a long period of time? Are they using particular celebrities to sell the product? And those celebrities chosen, would they be credible experts in the field, basically, to be able to sell this particular product? So you have to look at that and see if ethos is actually used to sell a product. Then you have pathos. Pathos is the emotional appeal. This is when a person is persuaded through means of emotions. This is rampant in commercials. If you think about anti-texting commercials that I haven't seen a whole lot these days, but I know that they're out there. They really pull at your heartstrings, because usually it involves, a car accident, or it involves children being affected. If you watch any of the ASPCA commercials, our heartstrings are tugged at while we're watching, looking at all these different animals that have either been abused or neglected, and it causes audience members to react and to act, to donate, or to make sure they don't do this or don't do that, or make sure they go out and purchase this product because they need it. So pathos is definitely used in most all commercials in some way, shape, or form. And it doesn't have to be in a very dramatic way. It could be through humor. It could be through, making a person think about the situation and how they relate to it. And then you have logos. Logos is just the presentation of logic or facts in a commercial or any type of ad or any type of persuasive techniques. With a lawyer who is trying to persuade a jury that his client is innocent, he is going to use probably all 3 of these, but definitely logic. They're going to need facts. So you have to look at the commercial that you're choosing and decide, okay, what facts are they presenting in this commercial that would convince an audience to go out and purchase that product, service, or become aware. The anti-smoking ads, it gives a lot of different facts about smoking and what smoking can do to a person's health. So that would be considered logos. So you want to make sure that you consider these 3 appeals when you are writing your evaluation essay. Now let's go back. I've also included a PowerPoint, but I've also put that same PowerPoint in a document format, but it's called 15 Appeals in Advertising. A lot of these appeals are considered to be pathos because they are targeting certain audiences, they're targeting certain emotions, certain feelings, and things like that. So you can definitely click on that to help you with your decisions in choosing what your criteria will be for evaluating your commercial. I've also provided right here, it's a commercial called Halls Refresh. Now, no student should write on their evaluation essay on this commercial. This commercial is strictly used just for an example for the class. So it would be an unfair advantage for a student to write on this commercial. So no student should write on this. You'll click on the commercial, watch the commercial. And then here is an article that basically is an evaluation of the commercial. And it's a Halls Refresh commercial. It's super funny. It is a little awkward, but it is a really good example of a commercial that uses different techniques to maybe try to sell a product that maybe aren't the norm. So watch the commercial first and then look at the article that evaluates the commercial so you can have an idea of what an actual commercial evaluation looks like. And this particular link talks about evaluating advertisements. It offers a Forbes magazine article about how you evaluate effective advertisements. So it's a pretty good read. And then you've got the resources section. MLA resources, again, this is pulled down from the course resources tab here. It's also in module 1. I will likely put it in every single module so you'll be able to refer to it here. But you'll need to click here. You're not documenting or citing any sources for this essay, but again, this will show you the formatting of the MLA essay and what it should look like. Essay writing chart, this is the basic template for all essays. So if you click on this and open that one up, it's going to give you basically that same graphic organizer that you had in module 1. So just kind of keep this in mind when you are kind of planning out and organizing your evaluation essay. You could certainly use this to help to kind of be a little bit of pre-writing for you or brainstorming. And then I have a couple links that are important. Here's one on attention grabbers, really good ways to start a paper. A lot of times students have a difficult time just getting started. So this particular link will give you an idea of how to start your paper in your introduction paragraph and different types of hooks. Then you have the thesis statement. A lot of students always express their concern and confusion when understanding what a thesis statement is. It's that one statement in your introduction paragraph that tells exactly what your paper is going to be about. And then you've got a student sample commercial evaluation essay. So you'll click on this and you can actually look at a student sample that I was given permission to use from semesters past. It'll give you a good idea of what an evaluation would look like, an essay. And then you've got in Module 2 assignments, you've got the evaluation essay rough draft that's due September 6th. Okay, if you click on this link, the actual instructions for the essay are in this link, and I'll show you those in just a second. And then you've got the evaluation essay final draft, which is due September 13th. And then you also have a discussion board assignment that is due September 13th. And just keep in mind that the content of the discussion board assignment is totally different than the evaluation essay. In any of the other assignments, you cannot write about the commercials that are discussed in another assignment. So you want to make sure you choose something different. All right, if we click on the evaluation essay rough draft, you'll see that it gives you the instruction link and also a checklist. If you click on the instruction link, it will go through and give you all of the instructions needed for writing your evaluation essay. You're going to need to determine what your criteria is going to be for evaluating your commercial. So if we are, looking at a particular ASPCA commercial, where the animals, they're asking you to donate to all these animals who have been neglected and who have been abused and so forth. You have to determine, okay, what 3 criteria are you going to discuss to determine its overall effectiveness? You could look and choose from this section here. Okay, does it get attention and hold attention? How so? Does it create desire? Does it make you want to buy the product? Does it make it believable or relatable to the audience? Does it prove the product or service is a bargain? Does it make it easy to buy and buy now? You don't have to write about all of these. It's just giving you some options. But I've also had students who have done this, who have used logos, ethos, and pathos. They have actually broken their paper down into their body paragraphs of how logos, how ethos, and how pathos, how those appeals are used in the commercial to persuade consumers to go out and buy the product or the service or whatever. So you could certainly, your 3 body paragraphs could be ethos, logos, and pathos if they're present in your commercial. If not, you can certainly use any of these here. Remember, you can decide on your own commercial, completely your own commercial. It just needs to make sure that it is trying to sell a product, it is trying to sell a service, or it is trying to bring about awareness. It has to be persuasive in nature. And this is a 2-page paper. Make sure you read through the instructions verbatim. Here are some more instructions here. MLA format, 2 to 3 pages. And I've actually included a sample outline here. A sample outline. Use it. Plug in your information just to get you started. You don't have to submit an outline for this essay, but you do need to plan and organize before you start writing. There's no first person, so don't use any of these. You need to summarize the commercial in the introduction, but it should not be an entire essay that summarizes your commercial. So it's very important that you read through these instructions to make sure that you understand what's expected. If you see anything in here that is confusing that you want to have clarified, please don't hesitate to email me. And then you have the essay checklist. If you click on this, it'll give you a checklist, and this is something you need to look at before submitting even the rough draft. Did I set my essay up in correct MLA format? Is my information centered, in the left corner? Did I have a page number? Did I provide a thoughtful and creative title? Did I include creative attention grabber as my first sentence? So read through here and make sure that you've done all these things before you submit your rough draft. That will help iron out any problem areas you might have. And then submit your rough draft. You'll await for my feedback, which will probably be by Thursday or Friday, and you'll make the corrections and then submit your final draft by September 13th. And remember, even if you make 100, which is very rare, but if you make 100, you still need to submit a final draft. So just resubmit what you've already submitted for the rough draft. However, if you've got corrections to make and you don't make those corrections, but you still submit just the same essay that you submitted for your rough draft, you're going to have more point deductions. So please make sure you always make corrections when you submit your final draft. Again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me.